Thank you all for having me. Hello, fellow Democrats. My name is Cathy Cummings, and with your help, I am going to be your next lieutenant governor of this great state of Oklahoma. Now, thank you. Yes, it's very exciting. Now, before we get started, I would like to see how many people in this room can agree on something. So by a show of hands, how many people in this room are not okay with children starving? How many are not okay with children starving? Starving. How many people are not okay with children starving? So, great. Now, I thought you were going to say that because this is how we should start every meeting. I was kind of waiting until she did start. This is how we need to start every meeting, by agreeing on something and hopefully solve together. Now, I have actually put a few clips of a documentary about myself and my husband Sean living on minimum wage this past month of November. And I want you to have a look at it because it's a really important video, especially of what's going on right now in our legislators. And so I'm going to let Sean start the video, and then when we're done watching it, I'm going to tell you all about my experience. The people have told us our car and insurance are too expensive, so we decided to take the bus. So first off, about 10 to 15 minutes to walk to the bus stop. The bus was 15 minutes late. I got pooped on by a bird because there was no cover or anything.
No sidewalks.
No sidewalks, and you kind of wet grass, so you had to walk through that. So my shoes are a little wet, but anyway, so we pulled in. I guess we'd been on the bus maybe 5 minutes. We pulled in their hub, and so we're just here for I don't know how long. So far, not the greatest experience.
So today is day 19 of the Living Wage Project, and we're about 2/3 of the way through. And people always ask how it's going. And what I would say is both Cathy and I have lost a ton of weight. Not on purpose. It's eating beans and rice every day because we had to keep our food budget down because our health insurance is so high. And we've had people tell us to get rid of our health insurance. We can't. I've got some lung issues, which have all come back up with this. The thing that I would want to bring up to people is, we're living in an older house, and it's got older house issues, and both of us are working, but yet we're living as if we're peasants in Mexico. I'm washing my clothes in the sink and drying them all over the house and eating beans and rice every day, and is that really the way we want people to live? There's an opinion of whether minimum wage is right or not right. I think you can make up that for yourself, but I mean, is this honestly how we want people living?
I can't write that fast. People aren't nice to you when you're on a bike. They're really not.
So obviously the chest stuff isn't getting any better, but I did a breathing treatment yesterday. Usually that opens it up, but not quite there.
So after this week, we're down to about $28. So this is going to get me through the rest of the week, I hope. We've got our beans. We've got my 2 bananas. But we did need soap and some toilet paper, so that kind of stuff is running low. So with Thanksgiving coming next week, I'm a little concerned about what we're going to do for Thanksgiving. But the big thing I'm worried about is my son is a senior in high school, and this weekend is his playoff games that I'm going to miss because it's in Tulsa, and honestly, we can't afford the gas to go out there.
Plasma. Plasma is the essential ingredient for products crucial to treating patients.
Okay, so I came up with an idea. So if I sell plasma, Sean can actually go to our son's football game in Tulsa. Okay, that's the needle.
Yep.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay. Oh, God. Sorry. I'm just a baby. It's that initial stick.
It's all done.
I think it's just the anticipation of it more than anything.
Right. The hard part comes.
All right.
Feel like you're gonna vomit, or?
Well, not anymore, but I did when I was in there. It was like right at the end of it, I started getting really faint, and my whole arm was going numb, and
What the end of paying?
$35.
Oh, sweet. And really, I do thank you for doing that. Here's my thing on not going to Tulsa. I don't want him to not have a parent there.
I know.
At all. You know, this morning with all this cold weather, I was afraid that I was going to end up having to go to the hospital today. The lungs were horrible, and I have about 25 days of trying to treat them, but just can't. And I was digging through some old medication and found some old prednisone, which is a steroid. And that may end up being just a lifesaver for me. So I've got enough to get through the week, which will probably clear this up. But, man, truthfully, had I not had those, I don't know what we'd do, because I don't have enough money for to go to the doctor for my copay. I've got insurance, but I don't have enough for the copay. How crazy is that? $550 a month and can't afford the copay.
Where are we, baby? I'm sorry. So 416? Oh my God. Okay, there's one. Let's just do it the easy way. I am so sorry. Okay, so I need 3. There's 1. Okay. Yay, we're there.
Now, did you notice the people in line at the grocery store watching me and kind of, they're doing this and kind of shaking their head and, you know, that was so fascinating, counting pennies and dimes and nickels, but so many people have to do that. Now, and you know, some of this was hard for some of you to watch, and you were probably appalled by it. But you know what? It's okay to be appalled. We should all be appalled. How in the world can anyone in charge right now even think about giving the rich yet another tax break when people with jobs who are working so hard need food stamps, or they have to resort to selling their own plasma just to get by for whatever reason they might have? Now, I challenged everyone at our state capitol to live on minimum wage for 1 month. I never got a response from anybody, but I challenged them because I wanted them to see how such an enormous part of our society is actually living every single day. And I do understand that some people in life do better than others, but there's no reason anyone should endure such humiliation every single day just to feed their families. So last October, I also worked undercover as a lunch lady. Now, you can see this on my website, voteforcathy.com, because you can see the full version of it. And the job paid $7.25 an hour, and it actually did have some benefits. But what struck me the most was that all of my coworkers, who I adored and they were wonderful, every single one of them were on food stamps or some kind of government assistance. And in what world do you work so hard and every day still need food stamps to be able to eat? I just could not wrap my head around that. Did not make sense. And that is actually what prompted me to do this minimum wage experiment. Because if I want to be a leader in the state, I have to be willing to walk a mile in someone else's shoes and know firsthand how much of our state is living. Now, Sean and I rented our apartment for $425 a month. We had one car. We had to have our health insurance. The house we rented had pets. The bathrooms had mold, all kinds of problems with Sean's breathing, and so we had to keep our health insurance. So after our initial bills were paid, our gas and our lights, we had $50 left for food and gas. Now, keep in mind, in the last 10 years, food and gas have all gone up 25%. And I just paid $4.88 for a gallon of milk. Now, I worked part-time at the local grocery store. I worked in the deli department. And we really did try to save and budget. And, he and I are two business people. We should have been able to figure this out easily. But it wasn't easy. Many people gave us suggestions: public transportation, walking to and from work, bicycle. You saw the bike. That was incredibly dangerous. Now, we lived on beans and rice and potatoes. We had some eggs. But like many people in this situation, there was no fresh fruit or fresh vegetables. Our bodies are actually designed to eat fresh fruit and fresh vegetables. And we did not. I had the 2 bananas, and that was for the week. But, we both lost a ton of weight. And I still have been having a really hard time trying to put that weight back on. And this is not on purpose. But week 3 was actually the worst, when my son had a playoff football game. It was near Tulsa. And we couldn't afford the gas to get there. And that is actually when I decided to sell my plasma. And I was not the only one there at that donation center. That place was packed, and there was a line out the door and around the corner. Now, when that needle was stuck in my arm, it really gave me an insight why so many parents can't attend their children's extracurricular activities. And when that needle, oh my gosh, it's hard to even, I couldn't even watch it. When that needle was stuck in my arm, I knew why so many parents were struggling to feed their children. No one should have to sell their own blood just to get by. But you guys, the reason this experiment was so important is that we have leaders and elected officials right now making laws not to raise minimum wage. But they still complain when people are on food stamps or government assistance. They mock the working poor. They call them fat or lazy or stupid. And they tell them, you just need to work a little bit harder. But our elected officials have never, ever taken the time to understand the struggles day in and day out. Now, the Bible mentions poverty 2,000 times. 2,000 times. So it's obviously one of the most important single issues in our Bible. And when people call themselves Christians and don't discuss poverty, we need to call them out for it. Now, Democrats are the ones who have moved into the background and allowed other people who call themselves Christians dictate how the conversation is going to be. We have to call them out for it. Now, businessmen are going to tell you, costs are going to go up if you raise minimum wage. Well, we need to understand that costs are going up anyway. I'm a business owner. My costs aren't going down. They're always going up. And this is going to happen whether we raise minimum wage or not. But I know this much. If I had $20 or $30 extra in my pocket every week, it would have immediately gone back into our economy, whether with food or gas or clothes or supplies, toothbrushes or toothpaste. Would have immediately gone back into our economy, which would create a demand for more jobs. Unlike the super wealthy, whose extra money goes into their bank accounts or into their portfolios, their investments. Now, businessmen will also say, many jobs will be lost. And you know what? I'm sure at first some will. I'm not naive about this. But I'm sure that so many will be gained when those first paychecks are cashed and all of that money goes back into the economy, which is creating a demand for more jobs. But here's our true concern. How do we want our fellow Oklahomans to live? Do we want people to work? Yes. Then they must make more money. Do we want people to take care of themselves and their families? Yes. Then they must make more money. Do we want families to be strong? You can say it. Yes. Then they must make more money. Do we want a stronger economy? Yes. Then they must make more money. Do we want children to be able to eat? Yes. Then they must make more money. Even Republicans would answer yes to every single one of these questions. Now, there is no reason minimum wage should stay at $7.25 an hour, and we need Democratic candidates to expose us for what it is. If we want people to go to the polls and stand up for Democrats and vote for Democrats, we have to stand up and represent them and their positions. Now, my name is Cathy Cummings, and I am running for Lieutenant Governor of this great state of Oklahoma. And if it sounds like I'm asking you for a job, it's because I am, and it better pay more than $7.25 an hour. So that is my minimum wage presentation. And honestly, if you guys have any questions about the experience that Sean and I had, I would love to answer your questions. Yes, gentleman in the back that spilled the tea.
I was listening to your speech, and you said that you worked part-time. You did. We both worked full-time. Those were 2 full-time jobs.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
So we're clear.
Yes. We actually we did work full-time jobs, yes. Does anybody have a question on what we did? Because I know the mood kind of got a little bit low, but I want to lighten the mood a little bit. But if there's anyone who has any questions, please, I'd be happy to answer them.
What did Sean do? What was his job?
Sean, what was your job?
What I did is still had to run all the errands for our restaurants, do the cleanup work for it and everything else, and paid myself $7.25 an hour for that. And it was legit. That's what I lived on. And people were like, at the end of that, why didn't you just go get taken care of? And I said, man, Oklahomans don't like quitters.
Exactly. They do not like quitters. Yeah. Well, it actually would have, not that I don't love you or anything, but it would have made for a better video if he had to go to the emergency room.
She still has us drink.
No. Thank God that he found the prednisone, because really it was bad, and I was just waiting for the call to take him to the emergency room. But, yes, ma'am.
Did your son participate in the food and everything, or how was?
Our kids actually did not want to live with us during that time, although they did come over for Thanksgiving dinner. And we had, I think we had a couple of turkey tenderloins. We had some instant mashed potatoes. I mean, you would have been so impressed about our dinner. Now, we did have the kids. I think one of them brought some bread, but it was pretty interesting. But I think the grocery store is. Have you all been in line with someone in the grocery store that's counting pennies or counting nickels and dimes, and instead of looking at them and judging them, because I felt like everybody was staring at me. I felt like everybody was staring at me and going, come on, speed it up a little bit. We're trying to get out of here. But a lot of people, I think, go through that, and I really think we need to be empathetic to those people. So anyway, it was a great experience. It was a great, great experience. And I still have not found any other politicians who have agreed to do it. So if anybody wants to, feel free. We'll document it. Okay, so now I actually have something fun for you. And a lot of you know that I have been walking across the state of Oklahoma. And I have been going to every town, every community, and every city so that I can talk with real Oklahomans and not tell them what I'm going to do for them, but I want to find out what they want from their government. And I have been from Boise City to Miami. I've been from Altus to Idabel and everywhere in between. And let me tell you, they had plenty to say. Now, the most thing I heard, we haven't had a politician around here since Brad Henry. Honestly, many of them said, hey, we haven't had a politician around here, period. What are you doing here? But most of them said, who is our lieutenant governor? I mean, they literally did not know who our lieutenant governor is. And I told them, if you don't know who's second in charge of our state, maybe he's not so qualified for this job. But anyway, I have this article I would like to read to you. It's a very short article from Boise City newspaper. Do you guys know where Boise City is? It's way on the far edge of the Panhandle. Well,
not way far from here.
In Oklahoma City, Boise City is on the far edge of the Panhandle. It took us a long time to get there. But I don't know if any of you read this, but Boise City had a newspaper article in their newspaper. C.F. David, he's an amazing guy, and I'm going to read this article. It's very short. So, have you seen this? Have you seen this woman, Oklahoma Governor Mary Fallin? The Boise City News sent Governor Fallin an email to her office informing her that though we were sure that she and the federal government were helping our farmers, that the people of Cimarron County needed to see her boots on the ground to know she cared. Now, we received no answer, and the governor has yet to visit. She missed 2 opportunities while campaigning. We offered a bounty of $50 for Governor Henry, but since Ms. Fallin carried the county and still hasn't visited, we have offered a $25 award to anyone who can prove to us she's been here as governor. Now, this bounty is still offered. Now, I know a lot of you know that Mary is on the move right now doing her bus tour, and we'll see if she gets out to Cimarron County. We'll see. But this is how most of our fellow Oklahomans feel. They feel abandoned. They feel abandoned, and this is not okay. Now, I've been to Southwestern, Southeastern, Northwestern, North, South, East, West, everywhere in between. Everybody has felt this way. Now, basically, if you don't live in Oklahoma City or Tulsa, nobody feels like their opinion matters. So I want you all to know I've been to Boise City twice. I'll continue to be going there as well. But I want to include everybody in my decisions, not just the Oklahoma of red or blue, but the Oklahoma farmers and ranchers and bank tellers and auto mechanics and veterans, everybody, not just the people that donate to my campaign. So my name is Cathy Cummings. I want to be your next Lieutenant Governor of this great state of Oklahoma, and I would like to show you a portion of my walk across this state, and I'm sure some of you will all see places that...